I used to miss important clues to my ancestors when performing genealogy research in the cemetery until I started taking the right photographs while I was there. I'm going to share with you the 6 photographs that I take every single time I do cemetery research on my ancestors. Hey guys, if we haven't met, I am Lisa. I'm a genealogy researcher, and this YouTube channel is all about helping you find your ancestors, grow your family tree, and not get overwhelmed in the process. So if it sounds like your cup of tea, you're in the right place. Now, as I'm recording this today, it is a beautiful spring day outside my office window, and it is perfect for cemetery research. To make sure I gather all the information, I always make sure I take these 6 types of photographs when I'm performing that cemetery research. Be sure and watch all the way to the end. I'm going to share my favorite cemetery research resource that I keep in my backpack every single time I go out for cemetery research. Now, last year, my husband and I set out on a cemetery research day. We went to 3 cemeteries, 3 historic cemeteries, and the very last one was the cemetery for my Barbie ancestors, dating back into the 1700s. Oh, be still my genealogist's heart. So what types of photographs did I take that day? Well, the first one that I took whenever I got to a cemetery was a photograph of the front entrance, the gate, as well as close-up photographs for the cemetery office, any contact information that might be there. Number one, that helps jog my memory so I remember where I've been when I was out researching, because I had a lot of photographs, and that way I could make sure I was documenting people in my tree correctly. But I also want to have that information because if I have questions for future research and I need to call back, I got it all right there. If a cemetery map is actually noted, if there are any markers about historical events that happened or anything special about that cemetery, I make sure I get those as well. I would rather have too many photographs than not enough. On a cemetery research day, you also want to take a photograph of the general layout of the cemetery. Now, I personally am a very visual person, so it really helps me, and it helps to jog my memory once I'm back in my home office when I can visualize what that cemetery looked like, so I can remember that and kind of the general layout of the cemetery. I noticed the landscape, I noticed the size, I noticed the different sections, say maybe an older section versus a military section versus just a newer section, more modern section. So it just helps me to remember. It helps me remember and record what I saw easier. If you want to know what I pack in my cemetery research bag, well, in my case, it's a pink backpack actually. Leave me a comment below and I can be happy to create a video around that for you as well. Let's get back to those photographs. So the third type of photograph I take is actually my ancestors' gravesite. That's the fun part, right? That's actually what we're there for. I take a photograph of the front, I take a photograph of the back, I take a photograph of the whole stone in general, and then I take a really close-up photograph of any text that's on the stone. So one thing I want you to keep in mind, though, is that a tombstone or gravestone is actually a secondary source. Some tombstones are actually placed years after a person died. And so errors actually can happen. And errors were quite expensive to fix at times. And so just keep in mind that you might find spelling errors. You can even find wrong dates that are actually listed on a tombstone. And if that's the case, what I like to tell people is use that tombstone, but try to verify that date of death with another resource. Once you finish taking the photographs of your ancestors' gravesite, the next type of photograph that you want to take are photographs of the gravesites around your ancestors, on either side, forward, backwards. It's okay if you don't know who that person is and how they're related to your ancestor. Go ahead and get the photograph. It is better to have it and not need it than to realize, oh wow, that was his brother buried next to him, or that was his first cousin buried next to him, but I didn't get a photograph of it because I didn't know who it was. Make sure you're taking a photograph of everybody around them and keep those in the back of your head. If you don't know who they are immediately, you might actually recognize and find people you were not anticipating on finding. And that's a good thing too. Now, the 5th group of photographs I take has to do more with the family plot. So if you find your ancestor in a family plot, then I would tell you to take a photograph of every single person's gravesite in that plot, regardless of the size of the plot. It could be small, it could be a large plot, but you want to take a photograph of every single person. Now, here's why. Your ancestor and everybody in that family plot, they are there for a reason. They have some association with the family. Likely they are all family members. They could be in-laws, but they are part of the family. And so you want to document that. This is also another opportunity for you to sometimes discover unknown ancestors to you, or children who maybe were born between census years. And this could be one of the few, if not the only, record that you find of that child. So don't overlook taking a photograph of every single gravestone and gravesite in that family plot. The sixth type of photograph I've taken is actually a photograph of the family marker. Now, you may or may not find an actual family marker, but if you do, and it's typically more in a family, there's a family plot, there's an area where the family might be buried together, I'd go ahead and take a photograph of that. Sometimes it's very plain and doesn't have a lot to add to my research, but I still want to have it and check it out and take the photograph because I may see the backside of it. I have sometimes seen where they might have two names on it. So it might indicate like two sides of the family on that family marker. So I want to make sure I go ahead and get that photograph of the family marker. I actually have a seventh group here, and that is to take a photograph of interesting gravestone symbolisms and shapes. Tombstones come in a variety of shapes and styles. So take a photograph of interesting tombstones and interesting symbolism that you might see on a tombstone, even if that deceased has nothing to do with your research. So here's why. Gravestone markings and styles can be quite symbolic. And the reason I want to take a photograph and kind of keep a catalog of interesting ones I come across and common ones I come across is because as I move forward with my genealogy research, the more I understand, the more I recognize, the better I'm able to evaluate the cemeteries and gravestones of my own ancestors. My favorite cemetery research resource I keep in my backpack is Stories in Stone by Douglas Keister. I will have a link for it in the description below, but I keep it with me so that when I encounter unknown symbols, if I'm unsure what I'm looking at, I can pull that out, and it is a fabulous, thorough resource that keeps me moving forward with my research. If you want to learn more about researching your ancestors in the cemetery, watch the video on your screen. It's 7 steps to genealogy research in the cemetery. I want to make sure you're not missing any of the important clues on your next research trip to the cemetery.